Welcome to Oye, Let's Talk podcast. I'm your host, Marisol Salgado, a bilingual counselor in Houston, Texas. Join me as I dismantle taboo topics, open the doors for much needed and a veces hard conversations about life and mental health. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional and is not a substitute for psychological diagnosis. So let's jump in. Oye, let's talk. New year, new me. The end of the year is upon us. We're in the last quarter of the year. So, what do we usually do to prepare for the end of the year? Well, usually people start making New Year resolutions, right? But people do that in December. So, I want to challenge y'all to do it now. Why? Well, okay, let's be realistic. ¿Cuántos de ustedes de verdad han cumplido las cosas y las metas que se pusieron el año pasado? Let's be realistic. Like, how many of y'all have kept y'all's goals? Or how many of y'all have reached y'all's goals? I know I've only reached one goal. Okay, maybe I'm lying. I've reached a couple of my goals, but it was very hard. Like, it's been extremely difficult. And I think the reason that I was able to keep my goals this year was because I made SMART goals. And stay with me. SMART goals, they need to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And I think that's what made the difference this year. I started planning my New Year resolution like in October of last year. And I made sure that there were specific goals, that they were measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So what's the difference between SMART goals and our regular New Year resolution that we do every year? Well, usually our New Year's resolution are things that we are like, okay, the one everybody does, right? I want to lose weight. Okay, so make it more specific. Like, how much weight do you want to lose? Make it measurable. Want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, in how much time? The first month. Well, is that really attainable? Is that realistic? Can you realistically do that? Maybe some people can. Maybe you can't. I mean, kind of like analyze, and is it realistic? So like I said, I want to challenge you to make some of these SMART goals. As of right now, you do not have to wait until the end of the year to start planning for next year. You can start planning next year now. I want y'all to share with me any of your SMART goals on Instagram. As y'all know, on Instagram, my handle is Oye Let's Talk. I'm also on Facebook at Oye Let's Talk as well. Okay, so let's talk about this whole new year, new me kind of mind frame everybody gets into come December. I personally don't really like this new year, new me, because going into the new year, it's not going to be a new me. I always do strive to be a better version of myself, but it's not a new me. It's just a better version of myself. Y'all see Apple come out with all these phones. So just become like Marisol version 11, Marisol version 12 every year, instead of making yourself something completely different, because that's really hard. And at the end, you want to be your authentic self. You don't want to change like your essence. So that's what, at least for me, new me sounds like in my head. And it's really hard to like change your authentic self. You shouldn't have to change your authentic self. Like I said, let's work on like some goals. Like, es más, what do you want to accomplish before the end of the year? I mean, we have a couple of months. What can you accomplish like in the next couple of months to work towards your goals for next year? Like I mentioned, you don't have to wait till December to start working on your goals for 2020. And I'm so excited that it's going to be 2020, y'all. Like, in my head, I've been planning this like Great Gatsby party. If I don't have a New Year's party, my birthday theme will be The Great Gatsby, because that was like my favorite book in high school. I think that's the only book out of all the books they assigned that I actually read because I loved it. So let me share one of the goals that I've really worked on this year and I plan to continue working on next year, 2020. Something that was really important to me was working on self-care. Although I'm a counselor, I wasn't doing that last year. So I focused on practicing self-care. And my specific goal was to practice self-care consistently and measurable. I said I'm going to practice at least 2 self-care days a month. Attainable, I was going to schedule one free one and one that I can like spoil myself with, or both of them could be free, but at least one free one. And realistically, I should be able to take 2 self-care days a month. I think that's even not enough, but that was like, I at least need 2 days to kind of like reset and make sure that I'm taking care of myself so I can help others and timely. What I've done is, it's usually I do something at the beginning of the month and then something mid-month. And I just check in and make sure, like, it's like today is the 15th. I don't know what day this is going to come out, but today, the day I'm recording it's the 15th, and I have to check in with myself. Well, have I done at least one thing? Yes or no? And plan like the next thing I'm gonna do. For now, for this month, I haven't done something, but I'm taking a whole week this month to take care of myself. I'm gonna go hiking in Denver, so I'm really excited about that. So you see how I've worked that. I hope this is a good example for y'all. And I really want y'all to share your SMART goals with me on Instagram and to keep ourselves accountable. I will share my goals for the rest of the year and possibly also for next year with y'all on Instagram, so I could keep myself accountable. And that's something I've been doing on my other Instagram page, where each month I've been posting at the beginning of the month. I've been like, oh, it's the beginning of the month, it's time to share your goals. Here are my goals, to make sure I'm accountable. And accountability to myself is more important than accountability to anybody else, because if I can't be accountable to myself, how can I be accountable to others? So just being accountable to myself, at least this year, I've taken a lot of more pride in being serious with these different goals and making sure that I'm actually doing what I say. I hope this helps with planning your goals for the rest of the year and gives you a head start in planning for next year. So the question is, what can you realistically accomplish by December? Or maybe it's accomplishing a small goal that's part of a bigger goal. You can also break down big goals into smaller goals that are more manageable. That way you don't get overwhelmed, because I know I can get overwhelmed easily. But if you're not like me, great. But if you are, know that you can break that big goal into smaller segments, and it'll be more manageable and easier to keep track of. As you all know, the end of the year is approaching, and I'll be hosting a workshop called Women on a Mission 2020. A new decade is starting, and if you would like to strategize with other goal-oriented women to start this new decade with intent and a game plan, check out the event link in the show notes for more information. The event will be held on November 23rd. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. As always, if you want me to talk about a difficult topic, email me at oyeletstalk@gmail.com or send me a DM on Instagram. My handle is oyeletstalk. And as a reminder, the information provided and any comments or opinions expressed are intended for general discussion and education purposes only.